Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Important Work. I'm your host, Chris Angel, here with my guest, Melisa Pearce. Hi, Melisa.
Hi, Chris. Thank you. I'm honored.
Thank you. I'm so glad to have you on my show. We get to work together in another capacity where we produce a podcast and show for you, for your business. So I'm so used to interviewing you and your coaches. And this is a fun audible here.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we call this? I don't know. A change up. So today we get to talk about your important work and what you do at Touched by Horse. First of all, what is Touched by Horse? Let's just start there.
Well, the name came from an old TV show called Touched by an Angel.
Oh, I remember that show.
Right? Remember that show? And my horses are my angels. They work in kind of the angelic realm of healing. And
Beautiful.
So I came up with the name that way. My background is a psychotherapist, and I also have been a coach for many, many years. And so I had been doing this work with clients that was really showing me a lot of efficacy, and formed the company and continued to do that work for many, many years, eventually a training program.
So how long were you doing the psychotherapy and things before horses became part of the picture?
I had been a therapist for probably close to a decade.
Wow.
With doing Gestalt therapy, which we can talk about, but in a more traditional format, doing retreats, groups, and private sessions.
Wow.
And then the horses, of course, were my avocation and my passion and my love. And I didn't blend the two to the late 1980s. So probably 89 to 90 is when I started waking up. The horses actually woke me up.
Yeah. Right.
Combining the two.
How in the world do you make that connection? Like, where did the connection come from where horses could partner with you in this work?
Today, people have heard a lot about it, and all these years later, but when this came to me, nobody had heard about it. It was before the internet, so I couldn't go Google it, find out what was going. So I had a retreat center in Flagstaff, Arizona, and our ranch was in Cave Creek, about 2.5 hours south of Flag.
Okay.
And in the summer, when Arizona just gets into a heat that I couldn't handle and didn't want to handle, we would take some of our horses up to our Flagstaff place. And I'd ask my clients to drive up the 2.5 hours to work with me. We set it up where they could stay in a bunkhouse, stay for 2 or 3 days. So rather than a weekly 1 hour experience, they'd come up once a month get out of the heat and stay for a little bit of time. But my horses were still my passion, and my clients were playing off Harry Potterism, but they were muggles. They weren't horse people. They were people. They didn't know anything about horses.
Right.
So the two just kind of coexisted. Anytime I wasn't working with clients, I was out working with my horses and riding, and that seemed okay. But when we were inviting people to the ranch, we also knew we had a responsibility to keep them safe. So in between sessions, they might have 4 hours in between 2 sessions. I would say, we have hammocks. You can go out our back gate and hike in the forest, acres and acres of county land.
Yeah.
You can take a nap. There's art things. You can do some art. If you decide to interact with the horses, don't go inside with them. Stay on the outside of the fence, but they might come over and say hi. I left it at that. And I also do not hand feed them. That was the other thing. So they weren't chumming them over, offering them carrots or something. And first what I noticed was the clients were so drawn to them. And I should have understood that, lifetime horsemen, but I really was intrigued by that. They were interested. So they would go down by the fence on their free time, and I would literally watch my horses on belly high green grass, different horse every time, not the same horse, kind of look at each other as if they were saying, I got this one. And one horse would go to the fence and they'd meet you at the fence. Wow. And then they'd interact with you in just a really soft and nice way and stay very present for 20, 30 minutes. Wow. What really stood out to me, though, was the next time I would see the client. So if it were you, I might see you 3 hours after that. And my ability to access your energy was better. The client was more grounded. They learned a lot from the experience and were curious about the horses. So it's kind of the horses really raising their hooves. Hey, put us with your clients. And I paid attention.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many juicy, good, lessons in that. That's so good. I think sometimes, I mean, I'll ask it as a question, but I'll make the observation first. I think sometimes our important work is already around us.
It is.
And if we would just like observe or look from a different lens, we would see patterns and things like, oh, this is kind of this is interesting.
Yeah.
Is that, can I make that a principle of things, or is it?
It is for me.
Okay.
It is for me.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, how do you find your life's purpose? How do you get on your mission?
Right.
And I'm like, it's probably tapping you on the shoulder already, or it has a hand. I said I felt as if the horses had a hand at the small of my back, that they were just there supporting me. They were gentle. I tear up as I say that, but that's what it felt.
Yeah.
And during that time, for about 2 years prior to that time, I was a little bit, I'm trying to think the right word. I was a little bit in a questing mode, like, okay, I'm a great therapist, I'm a gestaltist, I do all this, but what am I really supposed to be doing? What's my service? How am I supposed to be here on this planet and use my gifts to the greatest good of others, myself, and God? And I knew I was close, but not quite. I do feel like we're shown these things, the opportunities are there. And it just took me to stop searching for it and instead become aware of it, right? Bring it in now.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. It was undeniable. It was a great summer of my life because it was undeniable. I later met a man in Santiago, Chile. And once the internet got going, he reached out to me. And we were the same summer, the same weeks of the summer, him in Santiago, Chile as a therapist, me in the United States in Flagstaff, Arizona, had almost identical experiences.
No
yeah,
way.
we've really been good friends for a lot of years.
The chills on that one. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. So good. What, when you think about where, I think there's this, I don't know if you want to use a rising or evolving of people starting to get in touch with their important work. Like the whole thing of like, if I used my gifts to serve the world would be a better place. And the more we all come from that place, the better it all gets. But I think the thing standing in the way of that is fear. And like, what do you see are the things that stand in the way of people pursuing that tapping on the shoulder?
Yeah, exactly. I never have been a person that gets in a rut. It's just not my personality.
Yeah.
And I've always been an entrepreneur. So I come from such a different place with this. Yeah. For some reason, I knew at a very early age, I wasn't going to be a good employee. And I just figured that out. I had too many questions and I was always wanting to change things. I was innovating things and, annoying bosses when I was 18. So I figured it out really early that I probably needed to work on my own dreams, not try to be a cog in somebody else's dream. Right. So I got that part clear. And I believe, so I see it a little bit differently. Now I work with a lot of people that are in more corporate jobs or traditional jobs. Now they have to let go of the side of the pool and believe they can swim to the other side, right? It's just, for me, I started in the shallow end and learned to swim. Right. So I think it is fear driven and their mission can tap, but then they overcomplicate it. Right. So what I see is people asking themselves questions that don't serve them. So they ask them, so what would I do about this? And what if that happened? And it's a fear-based, place. Right. I didn't know better. I just said, well, okay. So what am I really drawn to? What am I really good at? And education, I'm a big believer in education. So I'm glad that I went the route that I went. But even that, it wasn't my mission, even the education gave me confidence, I think, but it wasn't, it didn't figure all this out. The horses and I figured all this out.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a part of just living life and the iteration of it all that is how you put the puzzle together. Right. It doesn't you don't just take a course and it comes to you. Like you have to play with it and hands on it for a while. If we go back,
my grandfather used to say that old adage of opportunity knocks on the door, and when you open it, it's standing there in overalls and work boots.
Right.
It's not winning the lottery. It's saying, what about this? And then following it through.
If we go back to the conversation of the pool and the fear of swimming to the letting go and swimming out there, at surface level, the fear, I mean, that's the easiest fear to identify. But under the surface of that, especially because of the kind of work that you do with people where you have somatic healing and you get to do Gestalt type of work with people, what do you see or what do you think is under the surface of the fear of letting go, and is the business going to work? There's something deeper under there.
Exactly. So the whole premise of Gestalt is that we have a choice in life to either be in a responsive place to what's happening or reactive. Yeah. If we're in a reactionary, and sometimes people will say overreactive, but a reactionary place, then Gestalt believes it's because we have some kind of pre-existing experience that caused that. So, if I'm afraid of dying from some bizarre disease, and I have an overreaction to that, it could be because I saw my father pass away when I was 6 years old from the flu, right? So we have history, and we can't just say, oh, I know up here. It's still in every cell, right, of our body, and all the somatics through. So when I see people afraid to take that entrepreneurial break, and I do think sometimes that they can break with floaties on, they don't have to let go of a job and just jump in the pool, they can have floaties to get across. But I do believe that the whole idea of letting go is to be able to say, is this your calling? Is this make you a force for good in the world? And if the answer is yes, it's good for you, it's good for others, it helps you be more of a force for good, then who are you to say no to that? Who are you to not do it? And that's a bigger question.
Yeah, interesting. Right? What would come up with that question?
Your fear, right?
Yeah.
And transform your fear into something that's going to help other people. And so that's the flip of that question.
Yeah.
Not to do it.
Every time I ask somebody like what's your passion, or what could you do if you could do anything? Like most of the time, it's always about helping people. Like I want to help people. And then, but then when it comes to the work of it and the letting go of the side of the pool, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do it.
Right.
It's really interesting because you, like you said, you're bringing up this fear, like, who are you not to do it? And all of a sudden the excuses and the stories start to come up. Well, I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I'm this. And
people will give a lot of lip service to faith. That's enough. I have all this faith. And then you say, well, if you have all this faith and you're stepping into your demonstration and gift of your faith, then how can you not let go of the side of the pool?
Right.
You're saying, well, I have a lot of faith as long as my feet can touch. Okay. then I'm really courageous.
Right.
You're talking about going in the deep end.
Yeah.
Talking about going in the deep end and rescuing somebody else who's drowning in the deep end.
Totally. Yeah. I just did an interview where the person was talking about how just different archetypes, wounded archetypes versus empowered archetypes.
Yes.
And one of the thought of when you are coming from an empowered energy, a healed energy, a divine energy, the concern is for others, and I'm willing to take the heat myself in service of others. But if I can't step into that empowered frequency, vibration, or whatever, and I'm in the wounded, then I retreat into myself, and I'm too afraid to get hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which sadly, when putting it in that framework, you already are hurt. You already are hurting.
Right.
You have nothing to lose to say, use me. Let me do something good in the world. Right.
Yeah.
We're already hurt if we're all closed off and self-protective and neurotic about it. That's what I love so different between the horses and humans is that, in terms of just physical vibration on the planet, then, there's been many people that have studied it, and they've said, okay, people like Baba Ram Dass and the Pope and people that have this really high vibration, they live differently than maybe somebody homeless on the street that doesn't know where food's going to come from.
Right.
Well, in the charting of vibration, 225 on a scale of 1,000 is where humans live. Most on a good day, when we're not worried about the stock market and other things happening, that's on a good day. We're around 225. Serenity, the true purest form of serenity, is 500. So 500, we've all experienced serenity at some points in our life. We don't maintain it, but we've experienced it. So everybody can remain, that was serenity. For me, it's usually in nature. Oftentimes it's with a horse, but it's a time you could say, if this moment occurred and it was my last moment and the needle got stuck and this was my forever moment, I'm that serene. I'm just at peace. So interestingly, horses live, unless they're immediately with humans, they live close to 500 almost all the time.
Wow.
It's been measured, okay? Humans live 250 to 225 on a good day, half what a horse does. Now why?
Wow.
And the reason is because our brain is more quantitative, qualitative. You know, our brain never stops figuring out, wish I hadn't done that yesterday, and what am I going to do about tomorrow? And we're everywhere but right here, right?
Yeah.
So we do the lovely scale of neurosis. We are neurotic.
The lovely scale of neurosis.
All that worry and all that neurosis and stuff, it brings our vibration down from peace and serenity down into this neurotic place. So then we go pay people a lot of money to teach us how to get closer to the 500.
Right. Yeah.
That's where horses already are. None of my horses are in the pasture right now saying, did that saddle make my butt look big? You know,
right.
None of them are saying, is she going to come out this afternoon and like, am I happy with the way I'm doing things? You know, they're not doing that.
It's a bad main day. It's a bad main day.
Yeah, bad main day, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, they don't go there. They're not neurotic. Interestingly enough, people that see this podcast may say, oh, she hasn't seen my horse. My horse worries and he'll walk in place. It's human caused. Every single time. You can take it back to a time when they were hauled in a trailer too fast, or, you know, it's always human caused. So but in their natural state, they're not warriors.
What, lately I've been investigating groundedness. I've noticed, I've been aware of my own not groundedness, even to the point of like just realize connecting some dots physically. Like I will drop things or trip on things. If I go to try to turn a light switch off, I'll be walking past it, trying to flick it, and like 3 times I can't flick it off. I'm like,
yourself, right?
I get so mad. I'm like, just like work. And I'm like, I'm starting to realize like I'm the serenity of it. Like if I were grounded and in my body and in this moment and present, I could just flip the switch off, right?
It's simple, right?
It's simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my question is when I think of groundedness, and whether it's I'm using a grounding mat or I'm actually putting my bare feet on the ground, people talk about being grounded in nature. Is that we could measure that in serenity probably, right? Like,
yes, absolutely. Well, you know, horses have 4 feet on the ground, right? And they're always on the ground, and they're very much in nature, and they're a very vibrationally sensitive animal. So they can feel if they're in danger, because they are part of the prey chain, not the predator. If there's a cougar somewhere, they don't have to see the cougar. They know it's out of their line of sight. They can feel it. So they're just much more in tune to their body and what's happening around them.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't have this. I think they actually sometimes look at us and pity us. They look and they go, oh, Chris.
Poor humans.
Yeah, pat you on the head. Poor Chris. You're they're working that brain so hard. You know?
Yeah.
Beautiful day and you know, we're all good. So,
oh man,
so yeah, I think they look at that, but they teach us a lot about groundedness. To me, it shouldn't be a lot of effort for people to become grounded. It's in Gestalt, we talk about it as I thou, THOU, I thou. It is checking in with my surroundings and with my body, maybe 10 seconds each piece. So if somebody wants to experience true groundedness quickly, like in 1 minute, they take 10 seconds and move all of their awareness to their heartbeat, everything, 10 seconds. Then everything to the noises around them. Then 10 seconds back to their backbone. And 10 seconds to the colors around them. Just a back and forth in their environment, you're here. And sometimes a 1,200-pound animal demands, are you with me?
Right,
they don't let us think about what's our next podcast or how's the billing system or who I need to fire or hire. We can't do it. They say, oh no, you're with me, you know?
Okay, I got to ask then, this is great, it's so fascinating. So I have to ask then, where does productivity fit into this conversation of, you know, equilibrium and peace, serenity, and because now I'm like, how do I use serenity to back into better productivity?
Yes. Which is a human thing, right?
Right, sure.
Totally human thing, but it's also very practical. We have payroll and employees, you know, things that we do, so it's very practical. So I think productivity for me, first of all, we have to back up to the premise that our capacity is so far greater than our productivity.
Mm.
And that creates some of the stress, because I'll give you an example. If I said to you, I have $1 million in cash for you, after tax money, $1 million in cash. If 30 days from now, you can be fluent in Russian, and you don't speak Russian at all now. I want you fluent in Russian in 30 days and you get this $1 million.
Mm.
The truth is you could do it. Truth is, you knew that million was for real. You'd drop everything you're doing. You'd open yourself up to learning it, and you could be fluent. You'd talk to some people, and we have capacity that's tremendous with this brain that causes us problems. And then we have what we actually produce every day, what we actually do every day, what we believe we're in our limiting beliefs that we're actually capable of doing.
Yep.
So to me, the productivity is staying in this moment, again, asking myself, what is it for me to give to the world today? What am I supposed to do in my service today? And trusting I have capacity way beyond what I can cognitively put together. So I'm to do the best I can do in this moment now. I always have about 5 major projects going. A lot of business people do. I'm sure you do too. 5 major ones I could just name off like that. Instead of looking at them and going, oh, am I going to get all this done? I'm a person that looks at them and says, what can I move on the board forward today? What can I just move a step? They get done. They don't get done if I'm out in the barn or driving down the freeway and worrying about the projects.
Right.
That's not being present.
Right.
But if I'm here and I say, well, okay, today I have time to write another chapter on my book. That's what I'm going to do. Total focus. That's productivity. Productivity is not stress over everything we have to get done and driving ourselves more and overbooking ourselves and putting more hours in at the office. And it isn't productive. That's the American idea of productivity.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's productive.
I also can see too that from a place of serenity, I can see places where I'm relaxed and my brain is not trying to force an outcome.
Yeah.
That I get access to the things I could move forward. Like what do I want to move forward today is an easier question and an easier action.
Totally.
When my frequency up to 500 is, or wherever it would get to, like 250 on a good day, it's just easier to get to what do I want to move today.
And the funny thing is, if we just spend some time each day in that high zone, whether it's meditation, Tai Chi, taking a walk, riding, whatever gets people there, if we just spend a few minutes, maybe in the morning and the afternoon, our productivity goes way up. Yeah. If we're not doing that, we're just spinning, with the shoulds. I should get this and I should do that.
Right.
Focusing on what's not going to move forward today, For me, it's the horses. So if I go to the barn for half an hour just to say hi to everybody and nuzzle some muzzles and play around for a little bit, I come back not in an overwhelmed place, but in a place of like, what could I work on today? Right. I hold a lot of things a little differently than other people. My business to me, which is a large, active, busy business, but it's my craft project. Right. I don't look at it as something I have to keep tight reins on. I look at what can I do today?
That's, I think, a really healthy lens to when you're coming from a divine or empowered vibration, your business becomes a self-expression and a part of the art that you have to give to the world versus this pressure thing I have to do to produce a result. It's just a completely different context. And don't you think that clients are more attracted to the first one? Oh, so totally. In flow, it all just kind of feeds itself. It's like getting the water to go down the drain in the correct direction. Once it's in flow, we're right. Trying to make it go the other way is really hard. If that stops, then we begin to get neurotic. Then it's even harder. So it's always a circle. I worked with a realtor recently, and she used to have a drawer full of things in escrow. And she said, when I have a drawer full of things in escrow, I am busy with clients all the time. My phone's ringing all the time. But when I don't have anything in escrow, I can't get a client to save my life, right? Yeah, interesting. That's that whole thing of what we're telling ourselves. Ask yourself a better question. You know, maybe it's empty because you're supposed to take a week off and get some rest. And
and source yourself and find your joy and then come back and do it again. But that's not nature, right? It's empty. Oh my gosh, how am I going to make my mortgage? What's going to happen? We're crazy. We are so crazy with that brain. It's like a horse.
Right. Thank goodness for Touched by a Horse and the work that you do with people that want to get certified to become Gestalt coaches. You have in your business, you have a certification program that certifies people with equine, right?
Yes.
With horses. And you also do work though with people who may not have access to horses but want to be Gestalt coaches. Yes.
Yes, we do. And for me personally, my personal clients sometimes aren't people wanting to become a coach. They want help with a former trauma or how they're dealing with life or whatever it might be. We do telephone coaching, in-person coaching, group coaching, retreats, all kinds of things. The CERT program is 2 years in length. It's a serious program to learn about human dynamics and Gestalt and horses and all of that. And they can find more than they need to know on touchedbyahorse.com.
Perfect.
And they just remember Touched by an Angel because that's where it comes from. So at touchedbyahorse.com.
Michael Landon.
Yeah, and we spend our days meeting wonderful people from around the world in conversations about what does it look like to have that coaching practice, who are we. Thank you for all the work you do, Chris, because I know you interface with a lot of my grads and help them express and learn to express, the exact niche of the people that they want to serve.
Yeah, it's so fun. Well, this is, I could keep talking to you because I love talking to you. It's so fun to explore these areas of productivity as well as like divine energies, all of it. But thank you so much for your time, Melisa. And if you guys listening to this want to learn more, go to touchedbyahorse.com. Melisa, thanks so much. And if also check out the podcast, Touched by a Horse. It's on all places you can get podcasts, Touched by a Horse as a podcast. And thanks, Melisa.
Thank you, Chris.
See ya. Do you have important work in the world? We can help you produce a show just like this one and get your message out in the world. Go to mygroundswell.com to connect with us now.